My dad said, when you can't talk about something, or you can no longer talk about it, paint it. And a lot of the story of the linoleum here, because this is linoleum, it's painted linoleum, but it was just linoleum. And much of our story, who and what we think we are. If you think about a story that said, I can't tell you about this until I have the right context, until I can create a story that is and begins with linoleum and the lies we tell ourselves. Meaning, I am not part of this story. The world is just that which I react to, and I have no complete or any control over it. And all that's pretty true, just like the weather outside of my house. I don't have any control over the weather either, but I did realize when this began on 9/11, when the towers came down, and I began painting on the floor as if falling off of the scaffolding, saying, I once thought my ideas were so vaulted, so important, but now I'm on the linoleum. I'm at home. I'm with family. What do I tell them? Not how do I convince the neighbor. What do I tell them? And what do I do with all of the lies I've been told and I've told myself for forever? That I don't matter, and what's inside of me, well, there's really nothing there. And what I love about the language of creation, which is what we are creation. It's art, it's visual. It doesn't tell us we have to believe anything. It says, what if, in my very presentation, that's the point. Because the very presentation of this, the hieroglyph of the human soul, that begins on the floor on the linoleum, the linoleum itself starts to suggest, could that be our mythic self-loathing? Man, I wanted to be gold, and I'm just linoleum, and I'm just ordinary. I wanted a castle, and I'm just human scale. But when art emerges and doesn't change the context, but engages the context, then it's time to listen. It's time to realize that maybe the lie was that you are not essential. Tell that to your children. Tell that to the ones you love. Tell that to yourself on a day where you're actually satisfied with being here and wanting to see what tomorrow brings. Because that's what, when we stop moving in time and we start to fall back upon the linoleum and realize maybe the gift of the ordinary wasn't to change being ordinary, wasn't to suddenly be golden, but to recognize that the game has changed. And we are finding our way back to, well, at least here, this is where I live, at least here, this is my garden, and maybe it is ordinary. Maybe it's linoleum. But the creative spirit returned here through me without conceit, but rather just the dedication that if I lie, I'm going to believe there is something I can tell the world that it needs to know. If I lie, I'm going to tell myself that I'm here to change everything. If I lie, I'm never going to be home, because I'm never going to want the responsibility that, you know what, you need it here. And maybe it's not to have an opinion about what's wrong with out there, but yes, it's linoleum. But what if that's the gift? What if in golden and silver ages, what if in other ages you had to fight for everything? You literally had to be at war. And now we are still at war, but our war is within ourselves. And it's finally bringing us, it's putting us on our knees. We're not on the scaffolding here. We're on our knees. And when we connect, we're connected with our feet, with our souls, with our bodies in intimate space. And this could not exist in any other context. That's what's important for us now, is that we are artists of consciousness. We have been told lies by ourselves, to ourselves, in order to bring us to a linoleum version. Meaning, I used to think I was vaulted and now I'm just this. But when you become just this, finally you say, well, let me take just this then and see where it takes me. And as it did here, who knows? It might reveal that the most beautiful story is inside of you, and not the thing you convince the neighbor with. But you look at your wife, your children, your husband, and you say, I wanted to share a greater love. I wanted to do it with the world, but maybe. Let's begin here.